Hello, this is Linda Vettrus-Nichols, and do I have an amazing woman to introduce you to, Shelley Brown. Welcome, Shelley.
Hi, Linda. Hi, everybody. So happy to be here.
Great to have you. Okay, so the heart feels everything. Really? How's that?
The heart does feel everything. For most of my life, I went through life through what I call disintegration. Like
Okay.
there were different pieces of me. There's a body and there's a brain.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's whatever internal organs, which were the body. And there wasn't integration between all of these elements of
Right.
myself. And when we become integrated and we cultivate the awareness of what's going on around us, within us, the way our body feels, when we become what I call into sort of a whole being, uh, we have the ability to feel everything in our body and be aware and notice what's going on in our bodies, right?
Love it. Noticing is like my favorite word.
Yeah. And integration is connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always felt like my emotions were kind of in a separate box. My intelligence was in a separate box. My body, like I was just this walking physical thing. I don't know how to
Right.
explain it.
Well, it's
And
totally trauma response stuff,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
fragments, right? And
Yeah.
I really didn't connect all of these sides of myself whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I felt like shattered pieces tied together by this like string that could snap at any moment. In fact, I wrote
Mm-hmm.
a poem and it was something like shattered pieces, broken glass, kicked in heart, fell on ass, pieces of myself I once
Oh,
cracked and broken, held by glue. And then when I began
nice.
getting more integrated, the end of the poem is done dying, the glue is drying. And it's basically pieces of myself that I want to keep. I can stick on the glue, and the other pieces that I don't want can just lay there and I can leave them. Because I always felt
Cool.
I was just leaving pieces of myself everywhere I went, in
Yeah.
in unhealthy relationships, in being codependent with my mom, just not standing in my own integrated self and
Right.
giving pieces of myself away
Yeah.
in so many different ways. And
Yeah.
becoming fully integrated, we have the opportunity to really, really just feel everything that happens inside the heart. And every time I'm in a conversation, I feel like I can feel my heart expand. I'm not talking about, just my heart, ba-bum, ba-bum, the
Yeah.
physical organ. I
Right.
literally, when I'm happy, I just feel my heart swell. When
Mm-hmm.
I hear something that touches me, it's almost like my heart twists and cries. And when I hear something meaningful and it broadens my perspective, my heart just feels like it's gonna
I
burst.
know. That always takes me to the movie The Grinch. Towards the end, the Grinch's heart starts expanding.
Yeah. And when we aren't integrated, when we don't feel this connection within ourselves and with others, it's like that feeling is locked away and closed off, and we don't have the ability to even access it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. So that connection with yourself, right? And then the idea that we are all connected.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, when we feel like we're stuck in our sadness or our depression or our anxiety or our thoughts or anything that's going on between the space of our ears, it blocks us from being right here with another person. It blocks us from being really fully present, because we're somewhere else. Our thoughts are taking us away. So how
Right.
can we possibly feel that connection to the present, to the conversation that we're having? And then we just feel a sense of separateness
Yeah.
because we're locked away somewhere else. We're not right here connected. And the connectedness with everybody else is really what compassion is. I remember times where I felt so lonely and so
Mm.
sad and so afraid and so panicked during
Mm-hmm.
very different times, during chronic pain, just different times in my life. And it's the thoughts that keep us so separate. It's the thought that no one else feels this way that keeps
Right.
us separate. And it's also when we feel like whatever we're thinking is who we are. I'm sad, not I have sadness. I'm angry, not here's this anger and that's it, that's who I am. So we take our
Yeah.
emotions and we wear them as an identity.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, and it keeps us very separate because that's when we think we're the only one. And
Yeah.
when we remember that whatever we're going through is a human experience and that every human being has felt this way, then we can experience self-compassion,
Mm-hmm.
but then we can be present for the noticing of other suffering. And compassion really is action, is intention and action to relieve the suffering of somebody else, not to pacify, not it's not just kindness and love and hugs.
Right.
It's coming into humanity with another person and with the intention and action of what can we do to help you feel better or to change this, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And none of us want to admit we need help. Like it's like the worst sales technique. Like you're in the department store and someone comes and says, "May I help you?" Like, what do we say? No. I mean, until we've decided what we want or until we've come up with the question we want answered, then we want them there like fast. But this, "Can I help you?" It's like, no. And even in using that in marketing, is not the word to be using, and we help you with this or we'll help you with that. It's like, no, I want to know what outcome you're able to create for people, right? Because I know how I want to be, and I'll listen to you if you've got something on that subject. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and maybe it's not help, maybe it's like guide to a new possibility, you know? I don't know, but I think there's a lot of vulnerability with the notion of having somebody else help us. And I think when we can really allow ourselves to be vulnerable, help is not such a bad word because that's what we're here to do, is to guide each other, to
Right.
to give to give help,
Right.
to whether it doesn't matter what it looks like. So accepting that we're a human being that has vulnerability will allow us to accept that help and that guidance and that support.
Yeah, and I'm sure that comes from ego because the ego is our helper. It is our like warning, Will Robinson, and I'm sure that whole like, we're actually in our ego when we're saying no to the help because that's what the ego thinks its job is, to help us and to tell us warning. And then if we don't listen, if we don't say thank you, right, and receive the message and give it a thank you, then the ego gets really crazy and goes over and recruits the pain body to give us a memory of remember when and this same thing can happen again and stuff like that. So that's why I talk about like walk at the level of your soul so that you're not an ego, you're not in your pain body, you're just like kind of here to experience the experience, and you're using what you love to talk about so much, Shelley, is the heart, right? Making decisions with your heart. Like my husband always says, make decisions with your heart, use your soul for counsel and your brain for storage. And then I always say temporary storage, because women were up in our heads way too much with too much in there. Dump it, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, and one of the things I just thought of when you were talking about ego is our ego, our reverse ego, can prevent us from getting help in that, like, I'm not worthy, right? I'm not worthy of somebody helping me. Why would somebody want to help me? And then messages from childhood, if you grow up with strings attached
Yeah.
to that help.
Ooh, I like that wording, reverse ego. I would say that if you're in reverse ego, you're way over in your pain body. That's cool. I like that wording.
Feeling like we're worthy of anything better than what we're going through right now. And I used to feel that way all the time. You know, why would this person want to help me? I'm not worth help. I'm not worth even having happiness. And I just was stuck in that belief system that I was not worth having a happy life. I was not worth anybody helping me without strings attached. There had to be something I had to do to earn the help or the kindness or the care of somebody else. And even believing, like growing up when people would say, I love you, I love you, I love you. And me just being like a visceral, like I'm not worth it. And then realizing that what was the people's ulterior motive for loving me?
That's huge. Or my friend is, what's the payback? What are they going to come after me for? Like if even anybody did a favor or something like that, she called it the tyrant banker, and they pay back with something that, now you owe me, right? There's that piece of stuff too.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was worth, when you feel worthless, that
right?
Ego again, like you out of everybody in the whole world is not worth it. And then it's like, what could you ever have possibly done that this person over there is worth something and you're not?
Yeah.
It's such an embedded lie that
lies, right? And then the other lie is, well, what would it matter? Like it wouldn't make any difference, if I did this to help myself or whatever it is. It's like, well, it wouldn't matter anyways. It wouldn't change, just a lot of the negative grips. Yeah.
Sabotage is enormous. And then what we do, it doesn't stop there. We do things to make sure that we can keep on continuing this process of self-hatred by being angry at other people or raging and trying to make people feel as shitty as we feel.
Yeah. The predator comes out.
See, I did it. I'm a piece of shit. I made everybody else around me. Woo, I'm a successful, shitty person.
I know, but and then that goes back to the control thing, right? At least I can control that, right? And you get to reign supreme.
Yeah, the reign supreme of living in crap, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so independent of the brain. Tell me more.
Again, I really, really believe, and this is true, that we feel everything with our body before the thought comes.
Yeah.
So no matter what it is, I mean, if you take a moment and think about somebody who's been so kind and benevolent, it could be a pet, it could be Terry, it could be somebody in your life who's shown you so much kindness, that in the body. Where do you sense that in the body? It could be the heart, it could be a warm feeling that comes over you, even before you think the thought.
Yeah.
Or you see a picture. Before you even think the thought, there's a physical response that you're having for everything.
Yeah. And I know you're big on noticing that as well.
What that physical thought
is.
And then there's three feeling tones: pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And then the thought comes. And it's all independent of the brain, because it really is the physical response first. You can't want to sneeze 5 minutes later. So by default, you're present to the body.
Sure.
Right? You don't think I want to sneeze and then feel the sensation, do ya?
Sometimes. Or like rub your nose, like right now. Like,
You don't think I want to sneeze till you actually feel the physical sensation
for
of
sure, though. Yeah, absolutely.
first. And so our body feels everything before we even have the thought in the brain.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love your work in the world. It's so brilliant. And there's no box when it comes to you, Shelley, and that's what I love the most about you. And you really do see things through very different eyes than most people. And of course, you've got this whole history behind you, right? That has like awakened you to so much. And I just really appreciate the eyes and especially your heart, and you're so in tune with the heart. So quite the combination as two. I'm like so in tune with the soul, and you the heart, and then I have a business bestie. She's totally in tune with like you, the thoughts and the thought loops, and that's where her work is. So yep, we're all a piece of that collective puzzle, if you will, and that's the beauty of doing these interviews. I do, because it just brings all the little pieces together, and you never know that one little nugget that somebody really needed at that moment, right? And
Yeah.
a big ahas. So thank you so much for sharing.
So much, Linda. I think if one final thought is all of this is about bearing witness to our experience so that we don't
Yeah,
suffer because of it.
yeah, right.
Is
Yeah,
it is. And when you can put distance between what's going on with the
yeah.
thought and observe
Yes,
and witness, then you're not tossed around by the waves of the world anymore.
right. And the level of peace is about the observed being also the observer. Yep, and it's so freeing, isn't it?
Life changing.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Shelley.
Thank you so much, Linda. It's been an honor.
My pleasure. Bye bye.
Bye.